For decades, the US dollar has reigned supreme as the world's most important currency. The International Monetary Fund's data shows central banks hold almost 60% of their reserves in US dollars. But in recent times, the dollar's dominance has been called into question, with the Chinese yuan posited as an alternative. Now, while most economists don't expect the yuan to be able to compete with the dollar anytime soon, for economically weak countries like Argentina, being able to pay for imports in a non-dollar currency could be an advantage.
In the suburb of Avellaneda in Buenos Aires, Argentinian company Yuan produces washing machines and refrigerators using Chinese machinery and parts. At company headquarters, its chief financial officer is working out how to pay for these Chinese imports at a time when Argentina is suffering from a shortage of dollars. The Argentinian government has found one solution: an agreement with China to trade in yuan. We have started working with yuan in the first quarter of this year. With this new payment scheme, we're securing the supply of goods in a way. The main challenge is the adaptation for systems. We have yuan accounts abroad, and we have yuan accounts here in Argentina. Keeping yuan in a bank account here is not as common as keeping pesos, dollars, or even euros. But some Chinese banks offer the service. Argentina is one of more than 40 countries with currency swaps with China, a necessity since it lacks international reserves. The other alternative is to directly restrict imports, which also impacts economic activity and inflation. Argentina's economy is expected to fall 3% this year, with an inflation rate of 126%. Haiti believes it has the potential to worsen. Exports and imports to Brazil are being replaced by exports and imports from China. And the risk, if a financing agreement is implemented with China and not with Brazil, for example, is that this trend will deepen. But economist Julio Ceballos sees value in trading in yuan. The use of the Chinese currency will not lead to any dependence or any such strategic subordination. A likely scenario is that soon half of all Argentinian imports will be paid for in yuan.
So to what extent is this part of a broader trend? Let's bring in DW correspondent Tsou Tzung-han in Taipei. So do you think other countries will start paying for Chinese imports to shore up their dollar reserves?
Yes. To avoid the risk of falling USD assets, many states started to do so, especially Central and South American countries. The renminbi holdings of 4 countries, Brazil, Chile, Mexico, and Peru, recently approached $30 billion, an increase of about 10 times compared to the end of 2018. For them, China is the #1 trading partner. Like Brazil, it exports iron ore and soybeans and imports chemicals and machinery. In Chile, the presence of Chinese companies in the electricity business is becoming increasingly prominent. So deepening economic relationship has contributed to the increase of renminbi reserves in this region. And even the U.S. close ally, Israel, diversifies its foreign exchange reserves with 2% slated to be invested in the renminbi, and more countries are ready to do so in Asia.
Now, so we've also heard a lot about the possibility of a BRICS currency. How likely is that?
Well, Kate, there are a lot of discussion around this topic, and theoretically it can happen, but we don't have a definite answer. It's not 100% positive. But if you ask a lot of experts, they will tell you that it's very likely that new currency would be introduced by the BRICS, because it will be introduced out of a kind of a sense of discontent at the US. Because if we look at the GDP size, the BRICS surpass not only the US, but also the G7 industrial nations. So it can achieve a level of self-sufficiency in international trade that other monetary unions cannot achieve. And if you look at the 5 members, they can produce a wider range of goods than other unions. So the new BRICS currency could also be attractive to other non-member countries because the BRICS play a significant economic role in their respective regions.
What about the other side to this, though? Are there any risks to paying for Chinese imports in yuan?
Well, firstly, the value of renminbi can fluctuate, potentially making imported goods more expensive. Secondly, renminbi may not be widely accepted, limiting your options for suppliers. And converting currencies can incur fees and unfavorable rates, adding to the cost. And more to that, regulatory controls can also restrict convertibility and fund transfers. We know that dealing with unreliable suppliers is a general risk in international trade. And under current geopolitical tensions, policy change can also affect renminbi stability.
All right, Tsou Tzung-han, thank you very much.